Greetings. This is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this is episode 2019-6, Reading Cable Charts. So I'm going to be starting a class shortly at the Hillsborough Yarn Shop on the Geiger cardigan, which is a highly textured cabled cardigan by Nora Gahn, and it's distributed through Brooklyn Tweed. And I will be using Brooklyn Tweed Arbor to knit that sweater. And there are multiple cable charts for this pattern. And if you can learn how to read those cable charts without having to read the words, it's going to save you time in the long run. You won't be able to do it maybe right away, but kind of being aware and practicing at the beginning, you'll catch on after a while and be able to see the symbols and know what to do. Now, I do want to qualify this by telling you that this is for the Geiger cardigan. Designers will often come up with their own symbols for cables. There are some standards in the industry, but some people do make them up. So this will not necessarily apply to every cable pattern you run into, but it definitely does work for this and for many others. So this is a cable chart. This is actually part of the Geiger cable chart. And I want to give you some tips on how to read these charts. The first thing, I'm coming up on line 1 here, and I see this cable symbol. The first thing I want to do is count how many squares this cable is involved with. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That tells me that this is going to cover a total of 6 stitches. I need to look at it too and see how these are divided. If you look here, this white part is 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So this is 4 squares, and the gray part is 2 squares. So this tells me that this is going to be a 4/2 cable. So when I go down and I look at my key, I'm going to look for one that says 4/2. Okay, and this is a left twist. They're leaning to the left. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to do is count how many squares that is. There are other ones that are 3/2 or 3/3. So you need to make sure that you're looking at the right key. The next thing that you do is you look to see if there are they're white or gray. White parts of this cable pattern are knit. Gray or dark black parts are purled. So in this case, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 white stitches and 2 gray stitches. Okay. Then what you want to do is look at the bottom. This is a rectangle. Look at the bottom right of the rectangle. The first stitches you run into are the ones that are going to go on the cable needle. So in this case, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 white stitches, 4 stitches that are going to go onto the cable needle. Now, you will see that these 4 stitches are overlapping the 2 stitches. They're overlapping those 2 stitches. So those 4 stitches are actually going to fall to the front because they're going to end up overlapping. The other 2 stitches are going to come to the back. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches that you're holding in the front, and then you're going to work these 2 stitches. Those are the purl stitches. Okay? So the top right stitches are the ones that you are actually going to work. So these are overlapping the gray. And then when you get to the top right corner, those are the ones that you're going to work first. So you are going to purl the 2 stitches off your left-hand needle, and then you are going to knit the 4 stitches. So that's an example of a 4/2 left twist. So let's try it with another one. So we're going to get up to this rectangle and look at this. This is the whole rectangle here. These are purl stitches after and purl stitches before. So you're coming along and you know that the white stitches are knit stitches and the gray or the dark stitches are purl stitches. Okay. There's a weird symbol here. This is to work those stitches together. So you are going to be working 2 purl stitches together at that point. But let's not jump ahead, okay? You want to count how many squares you've got. So you've got, this covers 6 stitches. You can see that from the row before. And so one thing I encourage you to do is if you are going to use highlighter tape or something to help track where you are in your pattern, I suggest that you always put your highlighter tape above to see where you are. So I am on row 3 now. And that is so you can see what goes on in previous rows and you can use that to count. Okay, so you can see that this rectangle covers 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The bottom right hand side tells me first what to put on the cable needle. So I'm going to put 4 stitches on the cable needle, and I am going to hold them in front so that they overlap the other 2 stitches. Okay, I see that. So 4 stitches of the cable needle, hold in front. And then I'm going to be working 2 stitches off the left hand needle. If I go to the top right corner of this rectangle, the 2 stitches that I'm going to be working on the left hand needle, I am going to work together. I am going to purl 2 stitches off my left hand needle, and then I am going to knit 4 stitches from the cable needle. And that is exactly what it says here. Now in this case, I actually decreased a stitch when I purl those 2 together. You'll see as you go up in the chart that there is this dark gray box. This dark gray box represents no stitch. Because you work those 2 stitches together, you now have 1 purl stitch instead of 2. So that 1 purl stitch is shown there. That is no stitch. So when you're doing this next row, you're going to purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl, knit, 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 knit. Don't work that stitch. That stitch is not there anymore. You're going to purl 3 stitches and end the row. So let's look at one more. Okay, I come up to this one. I purl, purl, purl. There's no stitch there, so I'm going to have 3 purl stitches, and then I'm going to have to cable. So I count how many stitches this covers, and it's 6. And in the bottom right hand corner, this tells me I am going to slip 4 stitches to my cable needle, and then I will be working 2 stitches off my left hand needle. I'm going to move those 4 stitches to my cable needle, and I'm going to hold them in front because they are going to lay over and lean to the left. I'm going to look at the top right hand corner of this, and I am going to work the 2 purl stitches off my left hand needle, and then I am going to work my 4 knit stitches off my cable needle. And that is a 4/2 left twist, just like this one. Okay, let's look at one more example. Okay, this is a textured stitch. So what this is going to tell me on this row is I'm going to purl, 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 purl. So purl 5. That stitch doesn't exist anymore. I get to this, and this is a rectangle that spans 6 stitches. So I'm going to be working over the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the bottom right hand corner, what I'm going to see is I'm going to slip 4 stitches to my cable needle, and I'm going to hold them in the front. They're going to overlap in this way, leaning towards the left. I'm going to be working these next 2 stitches off my left hand needle. Oops, I'm sorry, working these next 2 stitches off my left hand needle. Now, what's interesting, I'll go up here to the top right corner. How am I going to work these? Well, it's going to turn out that the first stitch is going to be a purl stitch, and the second stitch is going to be a knit stitch. So I'm going to purl off my left needle, then knit off my left needle, and then I am going to knit 4 stitches off my cable needle. This happens in the section of the pattern where we start having a textured stitch in the background that's a seed stitch, a knit, a purl, a knit, a purl. And so if we look at the instructions for this again, it was slip 4 stitches to the cable needle and hold in front. Then we purl 1, knit 1 from the left hand needle, and then we knit 4 stitches off the cable needle. And then for the last one, in this case, we are going to purl, 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 purl. So purl 6 and then knit 1. And then look at this cable symbol. This is another one that's over 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the bottom right hand corner, and we are going to slip these 4 stitches to our cable needle, and we're going to hold them in front because they're going to overlap this way. Then we're going to work the next 2 stitches off the left hand needle. Going to the top right, this is what we're going to do with those stitches on the left hand needle. We are going to knit them both. So we're going to knit 2 stitches off the left hand needle and then knit 4 stitches off the cable needle. These are all knit. And so that is a 4 over 4 left cross. We're slipping 4 stitches to the cable needle and holding in front, knitting 2 stitches from the left needle, and then knitting 4 stitches from the cable needle. And that's actually where we have knit stitches crossing over knit stitches. Okay, so those are my tips on reading the cable chart. Let's just take a look very quickly at this is the same thing, except at this point, these are right-leaning ones. So let's just go through one of these for you so that you can see how we would read this. You would purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, and then this is your cable symbol. That's over 6 stitches. You're going to, you start out in the bottom right hand corner, and that tells you what you are going to be doing with your cable needle. So you're going to start out and you are going to slip 1, 2 stitches to your cable needle, and you are going to hold them in the back because your stitches, your knit stitches here are going to be overlapping and leaning to the right that way. So you're going to slip these 2 stitches to the cable needle and hold it back, and then you are going to work these next 4 stitches off your left hand needle. Okay, so if you go to the top right, this is what you're going to be doing off your left hand needle. You're going to be knitting 4 off the left hand needle, and then you are going to be purling 2 off your cable needle. And so if you look here, that's exactly what it says. Slip 2 stitches of the cable needle and hold in back, knit 4 stitches from the left needle, and then purl 2 stitches from the cable needle. So that works, you know, in a similar way. On the bottom right hand side, it's always which ones you're going to put on your cable needle. In this case, there's 2. How many you're going to work off the left needle. When you get to the top right corner, that tells you what you're going to do off the left needle. That's going to be knit 4. And then when you get to the end, that tells you what you're going to be doing on the cable needle. And in this case, you're going to be purling 2 together off of the cable needle. So those are examples for the right twist. It's still the same thing, same rules on both twists. This is just to give you a view of what some others look like. These are 3 over 3 cables. This is a 3 over 3 cable. This is a right twist. So here you can see with that symbol, you've got 6 stitches that it covers. So you're going to start out with the bottom right hand corner, slipping 3 stitches to your cable needle and holding in the back, because this is going to bend over the top towards the right. So these 3 go on the cable needle. These 3 will be off the left needle. You're going to knit 3 stitches off the left needle, and then you're going to purl 3 stitches off the cable needle. And here is one that's a 3 to 2. So here's the symbol. There's 3 stitches, 2 stitches, total of 5 stitches. So you're going to slip 3 stitches to your cable needle and hold in front, because they're going to overlap that way. Hold in front. Then you're going to work these 2 stitches off your left hand needle. You're going to purl the 2 stitches off your left hand needle and then knit the 3 stitches off your cable needle. So that's how to read cable charts. So please keep looking for new videos as we go through this process. And I appreciate your time, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.